So these kinds of videos are meant for those students or meant for everyone who's going for prelims this year, next year. Idea is that everything should be on your tips and you should be able to revise quickly through this video. So first we need to understand what is a bill. A public bill or a private bill at a very first instance. Finance bill plus appropriation bill is the annual financial statement of Article 112. Hello everyone, this is me 𝐂𝐇𝐀𝐄𝐃. I welcome you all to PW UPSC English. So friends, as you know that we are continuing with our polity series in which we would be discussing certain static topics which are essential for examination, but many times what happens, we are not able to revise them. We are highly confused in such kind of topics. So these kinds of videos are meant for those students or meant for everyone who's going for prelims this year, next year. Idea is that everything should be on your tips and you should be able to revise quickly through this video. Today, the topic of the discussion is bills. As you know that there are certain kind of bills in the constitution. So first we need to understand what is a bill. Bill is nothing but a draft which is proposed by the legislators, by the parliamentarians, so that eventually once passed it becomes the law of the country. Any bill which is moved in the house, in one house, then other house, and then president, and then the assent, it becomes the bill. So bills are nothing, it becomes the act, sorry. So bills are nothing, bills are the drafts of the law which are in process of becoming the law itself. It has various ways, it has various procedures. But when it comes to what types of bills do we have certain types of the bills in the constitution? Constitution though mentions various kinds of bills. It doesn't talk about types of bills as such. Yes, it says that there should be money bill, there should be financial bill, there should be ordinary bill, but it doesn't talks about that a bill has to be a public bill or a private bill at a very first instance. Public bill or a private bill at a very first instance. So this is the first categorization of the bills. A bill can be passed by a public member. Who's a public member? Public member is nothing but any minister, anyone who is the part of the government sitting as an executive in the legislature or in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So that means public bill can only be passed by a minister who is forming the government. On the other hand, when it comes to the private bill can be passed by any non-minister MP, non-minister as in any MP from BJP, for example, who is not the minister itself, who is not the part of the executive. For example, I would say Ravi Kishan. So Ravi Kishan is a member of parliament. He is not the part of executive right now. He is not a minister. So any bill being passed by him shall be termed as a private member bill. Plus any other MP from opposition as well or other party, non-BJP, Congress, Shashi Tharoor, Rahul Gandhi, all these bills would be called as private member bills. So very first instance is public bill versus private member bill. Public bill also called as a government bill because it is brought by the government only. A bill introduced by a minister on behalf of the government is called as a government bill. Most laws passed by the government, parliament are government bills only. Why so? This we will be discussing at a later stage because this we will be discussing soon. So most laws passed by the parliament are government bills. On the other hand, now we'll be discussing this. On the other hand are the private member bills. Now what exactly are the private member bills? As I already told you, private member bills are the bills passed by the non-ministers. Why private member bills? Obviously, when it comes to the legislature, when it comes to the parliamentary form of government, every MP has a role in the lawmaking. It is not a presidential form of government that only the president can make a law or the ruling party can make a law. We are a parliamentary form of government. In parliamentary form of government, everyone is equally responsible for making the law. So over here, let us say tomorrow, anyone who is not the part of the government, who is not the minister and wants to bring any bill, wants to make any law, bring any legislation on his constituency, on his state or for the nation, he has that power as per the constitution, because constitution doesn't determine this. Constitution doesn't use the word government bill, public bill, private bill. Government doesn't determine that who shall pass the bill. The constitution only determines that what kind of bills shall be passed. Ordinary bill, money bill, constitutional amendment bill, it doesn't tells us that who are going to pass that bill. So that means both the ministers, non-ministers can bring the bill. Bill brought by the non-ministers is called as a private member bill. Next is why, obviously, why the government bill has more chances of acceptance. We know this. Government is the caretaker of everything. Government is basically responsible for bringing all the laws. Government has high category of responsibility. Government is very much responsible in the legislature as well. So most of the bills would be brought by the government itself, because ministers are the executors as well. Ministers, they have their own propositions, they will bring the laws, they will sit in the ministries, they will execute the laws. So obviously government bill will always have a preference over a private member bill. But why and how a private member bill would be moved? So whenever the member decides that this particular topic is fit, we need to bring a bill on this particular topic, he may give his intention that I want to pass this bill. He may write to the secretariat with a draft of the copy. With that draft of the copy, he should also attach that how the implementation has to be done and what kind of expenses are required. So over here, the secretariat has a role. Secretariat just go through the bill. It checks the bill whether it has the right kind of language or not, because every bill has to be drafted as per the protocols of the parliament. So secretariat here is responsible for checking the language, drafting of the bill, expenditure involved, whether the expenditure is recurring, one time, does the government has that kind of money or not, because what will happen if the bill get passed and the government doesn't have resources for that? That would be a very much problematic thing. That would raise questions upon the competence of the government as well. So that is why this particular private member bill has to be thoroughly checked by the secretariat. Secretariat is responsible for cross checking everything in this bill, its language, definition, words used, any word which is unparliamentary in nature shall not be in the bill. So you can say it will vet the bill thoroughly. Vetting of the bill would take place, and ultimately then that bill would be sent to the house itself. Now everything has been discussed, that yes, it is adequate in nature. The language is as per the constitution, as per the parliament. We have the resources, we have the expenditure, everything is there. Then what next? Next thing is, let us say that bill happens to be a money bill. Let's say that bill requires the prior consent of the president. So in that scenario, prior consent of the president is also required to be sought. That is also required. So a bill which is under the constitution cannot be introduced. Let us say Article 3, where prior consent is required. Article 274, where previous recommendation or sanction is required. Or let us say the bill needs the certification of the speaker of the Lok Sabha. So that means if these things are required, so in that scenario, that has to be taken in a prior manner. So that means if it is a private member bill or a public bill, in any of the case, the same procedure has to be followed. Whatever happens with the government bill should happen or should be done with the private member bill. We have just discussed about Article 274. Let's see what is 274. Prior recommendation of president is required to the bills affecting taxation in which states are interested. Let us say where states taxation matter is interested, prior recommendation is required. That was taken for the GST as well. Now, coming back to the topic, member sends a request to the secretariat, obtaining the recommendation. Request of the member is forwarded to the ministry concerned. Ministry then communicates, because ultimately who would be the executionary authority over here? Let us say tomorrow I propose a bill. I'm a member of parliament I'm a non-minister and I'm a member of parliament, and I propose a bill on population control as it was brought. So in that scenario, Ministry of Child and Welfare, Women Welfare, then Statistical Ministry, so many ministries are involved. So all these ministries required to be consulted, how they are going to execute the bill, how the bill would be implemented, how the law would be implemented so that the people can get the benefit. So over here, these kinds of bills are then sent to the ministry concerned. Then they obtain the orders of the president and communicates the same to the secretariat. On receiving an intimation, obviously, regarding the president's order, when everything has been sought, then only the bill shall be tabled in the parliament. But is that so easy? Any bill which has been passed by a proper protocol, proper procedure, standard procedures are involved. Do you think then also, or do you really think that private member bills are being passed? Have you heard that recently the parliament passed a private member bill? In the last memory of the Indian polity, the last bill passed was in 1970. since then no private member bill has been passed. There are so many bills which have been introduced. In fact, the success rate of the introduction is just 10%. Let us say 100 bills are kept on the timetable of the parliament. 100 bills are about to go through the process of parliament, and only 10 are tabled. So the success rate of tabling the bill, tabling means introducing in the house, is just 10%, and passing rate is almost zero. It's almost zero. If you see that during the first term of 17th Lok Sabha, which ended in 2024, only 9.8 hours were spent on the private member bills, and Rajya Sabha spent only 27 hours on the private member bill. 5 years, 27 hours. If you see the statistics of previous three, which was readily available in 2024, we have the last data from these years only. 13th Lok Sabha introduced 343, discussed just 17. 328, just 14. 15th Lok Sabha, just 11. For 16th Lok Sabha, till now 206 members have been introduced, only 6 have been discussed. That was not including today. So this data came out in November 24. Now, so we know that the success rate of the private member bill is almost zero. In the past, last passed was in 1970, and till date only 14 private member bills have become the final laws. Other facts: member must be given at least 1 month notice. Member must tell 1 month in advance, House Secretariat to examine it for compliance. And while a government bill can be introduced any day, it is usually done on Fridays. This bill gets least priority. Only Fridays are allotted. And if on that day the parliament could not function, it was adjourned, then it would not be brought on table. So private member bill can only be introduced on Fridays. No private member bill has been passed since 1970. To date, 14 has been passed. Selection of bills for discussion is done through ballot. Yes. Now another thing. Let us say 300 member of parliaments wants to introduce their bill. Whose bill shall be discussed on this Friday? I'm talking about non-ministers. I'm talking about private bills. You just have 1 day, a week, and if parliament sits for, let us say, just 100 days in 5 years, so we can say, as per the probability, you hardly get 3 or 4 Fridays, 5 Fridays, or 10 Fridays, not more than that, out of the 100 days, if you see the total probability. So these are just probabilities. So in 10 Fridays, 15 Fridays, how many, what is the percentage or the probability that your bill should come or not? How we are going to decide that whether your bill should be the first bill, my bill should be the second bill? That this priority cannot be set, because there is no senior, no junior in parliament. Everyone holds the same position. So what can be done? So what they do, they just take out the ballot. It's a lottery system. Let us say 300 bills are to be tabled. 300 cannot be tabled. We'll take out the lottery. Okay, out of the 300, we'll take out the lottery. 5 bill, 6 bill, 10 bill, 20 bill. So this is how they are introduced. Now there is a confusion or misconception among the students. Many times they keep asking the same question: can a private member bill be a money bill? So for that, no specific thing is given in any part of any book. There are certain books which says that private member bill cannot bring a money bill, but no, this is a screenshot from the parliamentary website. It says that a recently private member bill, it was somewhere introduced on 4th of August 2023, private member bill, money bill, private member money bill, private member ordinary bill, private member financial bill. Okay, so that means private member also has the same powers as a government member has. When it comes to lawmaking in parliamentary democracy, all the member of parliament has the same power. Legislators have the same power because they are there to make law. Done with this? So I hope it is clear to you. Now let us move to now the bills which are introduced in the constitution. The first one is ordinary bill. Any bill which is not a money bill is not ordinary bill. Then what is a money bill? This we will be discussing soon. So any bill which is not a money bill is an ordinary bill, though it can be financial bill as well. But yes, over here we are discussing the matters of general legislation are put up under ordinary bill. Bill related to any matter other than the financial matters or constitutional amendment is an ordinary bill. It can be introduced in either house of the parliament. It can be introduced in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Both the houses have the same power when it comes to the ordinary bill. Now, when it comes to requirement, simple majority in both the houses is required. It can be introduced in Lok Sabha. From Lok Sabha, it can go to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha, introduced in Rajya Sabha, it can go to Lok Sabha by simple majority. Assent, presidential assent is required, and president also under Article 113 of the Constitution can withhold the assent, can return the bill, or he can pass the bill or put a veto on that. So that depends upon the president only. Now next comes 110. 110 defines what is money bill. Money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. Why? Because money bill is associated with the expenditure, the appropriation of money from the consolidated fund of India. It is associated with the earning of the government, expenditure of the government, receipts, expenditures. This is required. So over here, public money is involved. Lok Sabha is the house of people. So Lok Sabha has been given that authority, that it is your authority to take care of the public money. So that is why these bills money bill can only be introduced in the Lok Sabha itself. It cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. In fact, Rajya Sabha doesn't have much powers over here. Any bill that deals exclusively with the taxation, borrowing, consolidated fund or expenditure is called as a money bill. Only in Lok Sabha, only by a minister on the recommendation of the president. Next is Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha can only make recommendations. Introduced in Lok Sabha, went to Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha has 14 days to pass it. In 14 days, either Rajya Sabha will pass it. Bill shall be considered to be passed by both the houses. Rajya Sabha recommends something, send it back to the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha accepts the recommendation. Bill shall be deemed to be passed by both the houses with the recommendation of Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha send it back for the recommendation. Lok Sabha denies the recommendation, rejects the recommendation. Bill shall be deemed to be passed by both the houses without the recommendation of the Rajya Sabha. President cannot return it. It must give assent, though he can withhold it. Technically, it doesn't happen. Why? Because this bill could only be introduced on the prior recommendation of president. President is well aware of the fact that this bill is going to be coming to his office, her office. So already when the bill was drafted, the prior consent was given, recommendation was given. So president recommends कि time has come, bring this law. Then the ministry, finance ministry prepares a draft. Then that draft is given to the speaker. Speaker certifies, yes, as per Article 1110, this is the money bill only. Go ahead. So after these three clauses, these three steps, then the bill is introduced only in Lok Sabha. Now, what exactly is the definition? Let us see the definition of the money bill. An exact definition would be better for us. So, any bill which talks about imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax is money bill. Regulation, borrowing of money, giving any guarantee by the government of India, amendment of the law, amendment to the law with respect to any financial obligation or any financial obligation to be undertaken by the government is money bill. Then custody of the consolidated fund of India. What is consolidated fund? All the money earned by the government of India goes into this. Or the contingency fund of India. What is contingency fund of India? It is used in the contingency. It is always placed at the disposal of the president or executive under Article 267. Now, withdrawal of any money from such fund, appropriation bill has to be passed. Appropriation of money out of the consolidated fund of India, declaring any expenditure to be expenditure charged upon the consolidated fund of India, or increasing the amount of any such expenditure, the salaries. Receipt of the money on the account of consolidated fund of India or the public account of India, or the custody, issue of such money, or the audit of accounts of the union or state. Receipt. Always keep in mind, when you have to take money out of the public account of India, you don't need any bill. Public account of India is a account maintained by the government as a banker. All your the gratuities, pension funds, these are managed through this particular fund. Any matter incidental to A to F is nothing but a money bill. Next is, what are the exception? A bill shall not be deemed to be a money bill just by the reason that it talks about imposition of fines or any pecuniary penalties. If the government is just approving any penalty, pecuniary fines, it is not a money bill. Or demand of payment or fee or licenses. Let us say government comes up with any license for any kind of spectrum or something, that shall not be called as a money bill. Or by reason that it provides for the imposition, abolition, remission, alteration or regulation of any tax by any local body for just the local purpose, that shall also be not be a money bill. So this is where you can see that money bill, these particular characteristics show that it is a money bill. So we have already done this, that how it can be passed, how money bill can be passed. Next, apart from money bill, there is another segment, financial bill. Usually there is a confusion about between finance bill and a financial bill. Finance bill is part of the budget. It is budget itself. Finance bill plus appropriation bill is the budget. Over here we are discussing financial bill. Financial bill is categorized of two kinds. 117 clause 1, 117 clause 3. 117 clause 1 is more like a money bill. 117 clause 3 is more like an ordinary bill, but yes, they have certain financial functions. I'll show the example. Similar to the money bill, but contains other provisions as well. Introduced only in Lok Sabha with President's recommendation. Rajya Sabha has power like a ordinary bill because it is both money and ordinary function. Then on the other hand, financial bill 117 clause 3, that is category 2, contains provision involving the expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India. In the first case, the bill was about the money itself, but it also had certain ordinary general legislation. It cannot be categorized completely as a money bill, but it is also not an ordinary bill. It has more money functions because it must be creating certain fund of the Government of India, like the CAMPA fund, CAMPA Act. Okay, that is compulsory afforestation management fund. So protection fund. So that shall be called as a financial bill 1, category 1, because it has the major function of the finance funds. On the other hand, that very bill also talks about creation of any authority, that there shall be certain authority which shall be appointed in this manner, shall have certain functions. So it is also creating an authority, it is also doing some ordinary functions. So category 1 is valid over here. But on the other hand, let us say there is a bill which is talking about the adding more categories to the reservation. Let us see in this sense that it is about adding more categories to the reservation. But when the government will add more people to the reservation, obviously government would face certain kind of financial burden, more finances would be required. So in that scenario, that bill would be having a financial memorandum that yes, we are amending the list of the SCs and STs. Now we are adding more communities to this particular list of SCs and STs, and this addition requires certain funds. So there would be certain funds, certain one-time fund, recurring fund would be required to give them reservation to maintain this particular list or given to these authorities. So this is where the government is not very sure what is expenditure currently. So government would write that it is not possible to estimate the likely additional expenditure at this point of time, but obviously at the certain point of time when expenditure would be calculated, we shall be communicating this to the parliament. So that means this shall be the financial bill clause 2. Financial bill clause 2 is more linked the financial bill category 2 is more linked with the ordinary bill. It has more functions of the ordinary bill, but yes, it also talks about the expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India. So that is why it cannot be an ordinary bill, pure ordinary bill, but it doesn't fulfill the idea of the money bill as well. So this is where we can say it is the financial bill 2. Now quickly go through this table. Article 1110 deals with money bill, 17.1 deals with finance category 1, finance category 2. Only provisions mentioned in Article 110. Any provision which is not only in Article 110 but also has other general legislation. They contains only involving expenditure only. This we have just discussed. Speaker decides whether bill is money bill or not. Finance Bill 1 doesn't require speaker certification. Finance Bill 2 doesn't require speaker certification. Only introduced in Lok Sabha, only in Lok Sabha, in any house. President recommendation required. President recommendation is required at very prior stage. Here, President recommendation is required at a later stage when the bill has been introduced. It cannot be amended or rejected by the Rajya Sabha. It can be amended or rejected by the Rajya Sabha. It can be amended. Similar, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha have almost same power of rejection. Cannot return, can return because more functions are ordinary in nature. No joint sitting, can summon joint sitting, can summon joint sitting. When it comes to joint sitting is done when there is a deadlock between the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. In the case of ordinary bill only, the joint sitting can be called. Joint sitting is written in Article 108 of the Constitution. That would be chaired by Speaker, Deputy Chairman. Vice President or the Chairman cannot sit because he is not the part of the House. Fine. Joint sitting cannot be called for money bill. Why? Because Rajya Sabha doesn't have power. It cannot be called for constitutional amendment bill. Why? Because it requires the special majority. Bills in the joint sitting shall be passed by simple majority. Done. Now next comes Constitutional Amendment Bill, Article 368. Introduced, can be introduced in either house. It depends upon what kind of bill it is, whether it is a GST law, then it has to be introduced in Lok Sabha. Requires special majority in both the houses. Sometimes ratification of the state is required when the matters of state are concerned. Let us say when it comes to the presidential election, Article 54, changing the electoral college. When it comes to the powers of the state, that means Article 246, 247, where Schedule 7 is involved. So this is where state ratification is required. President has to sign it. President cannot withhold or return the bill, must give assent because it is an essential thing. President should not stop these kinds of bills. Now, then there are certain constitutional amendment bills which can be passed by simple majority as well. So several provisions in the constitution can be amended by simple majority, that is just 50% of the members present and voting. 50% plus 51% it should be. It is to be noted that these amendments fall outside the scope of Article 368, like admission or establishment of new states. When admission or establishment of new state is required, then simple majority. But if you need to give away your territory, if India has to cut away its territory, if we are giving some territory to some other nation, as we did in case of the India-Bangladesh Accord, in that scenario, the bill has to be passed by special majority. It is not written in the constitution. It was discussed by the Berubari case. Amendment is required. Formation of new state, alteration of areas, boundaries, names, existing state, simple majority. Abolition, creation of legislative council in state, simple majority. This also highlight the unitary features of the Indian constitution. When special majority would be required, it would be required when you are going to change the fundamental rights. Obviously, fundamental rights are the cornerstone, very important. You cannot amend like this only. You need a special majority set up over here. Directive principle of state, all of the provisions that are not covered by the first and the third. First, and what is the third then? Third is about the state ratification, where consent of the half of the states is required. Where states matter, there you need that consents of the half of the states are required. That is called as the special majority plus consent of the state. What are those? Article 54, powers of the High Court, Schedule 7 of the Constitution, wherever the consent of the changing the seats. Okay, so wherever the consent wherever the state has the power, there you need to have this kind of amendment. Next comes appropriation bill. Appropriation bill is Article 114. It is usually used to take the money out of the consolidated fund of India. No money can be taken out of the consolidated fund of India except the appropriation bill. So that means appropriation bill is the bill which will take out the money for the expenditure. Usually, as I already told you, it is part of the budget. It is passed with the budget only. Authorizes withdrawal from the consolidated fund of India to meet the expenses. part of the budgetary process. As you will see these days, this isn't going in news. It's type of money bill only, introduced in Lok Sabha after general discussion on the budget. Once the budget speech ends, once the budget is done and dusted, the finance minister come, they give the speech, they tell the proposed things, what we are going to do, what taxes we are going to reduce, what benefits we are going to give. And then once it is done, then this particular appropriation bill talking about the expenditures of the government, how much salaries are to be given, what expenditures government has, what the interest amount government has to pay, loan repayments, everything is mentioned in the appropriation bill. It talks about the expenditure of the government. So this particular appropriation bill has to be passed by both the houses. So it is a kind of a money bill. Unless it is passed, the government cannot take out a single penny from the Conservative Fund of India. Finance bill is nothing but the bill which talks about the financial proposals. So as I already told you, finance bill plus appropriation bill is the annual financial statement of Article 112. So deals with the implementation of the financial proposals of the government like tax proposals, a money bill introduced only in Lok Sabha. At the end, I have just given a summary. Ordinary bill, any house, okay. Money bill, Lok Sabha only financial matters. Financial bill, Lok Sabha only, finance bill, other provisions. Finance bill, any house, provisions involving. Constitutional amendment bill, any house. Appropriation bill, private member bill, government bill. Okay, so this is the summary of whatsoever we have discussed. I would be putting up this slide on the Telegram channel and you can take it from there. In case if you need other such videos, do let me know in the comment section what kind of videos you are looking for polity. So I would be happy to record them. Till then, goodbye, take care, and God bless you all.